Hey, it's Flango. So today we're gonna go over how you're gonna beat aggro, and this is kind of important because we have a tournament coming up, and aggro is gonna be a big deal. So yeah, we should start by talking about what aggro looks like. Um, it comes in a few varieties. I still think manaless aggro is viable. Um, Usually that deck uses Chimera, Deep Space Warrior, whatever, but the kings that you will see that are aggro kings are Deep Space Warrior. This card, it'll do 15 damage to you on the first turn, and it'll regen some health, but it also only has 40 health. So, yeah. The other kings you'll run into are Bog Dweller. Bog Dweller is one of the more common ones, or it should be because it's the best one in my opinion. You do still see Dream Drake, and but I don't have Azrael. And then Dark Deal decks will sort of be aggro-y, tempo-y too. Dark Deal's obviously not the king, but that's the card. You can run a lot of kings with Dark Deal, usually Azrael. So yeah, these are like your sort of cornerstones of aggro. I don't see it very often, but like I said, Chimera is pretty strong. I think I would definitely run it in Manaless. And let me just check. I don't think there's any other real good aggro kings. To be honest, Shenlong can be kind of aggro too. Like no, but yes. Is there anything else? Not really. Nothing huge. Okay, so these are the cards that we'll talk about. Um, so I guess we'll start from the bottom. Dark Deal. So decks that use Dark Deal will summon a card, and then they'll use Betrayal to actually take the demon that they just summoned. So they'll use a Demon King, probably Israel, but I mean, you could use Shadow Lurker, you could use Taurus Dragon. A lot of them do actually use Taurus Dragon. Um, I've not seen Raiden or Inferno. Well, I've seen these cards played, but they're not usually the main one. Usually Dark Deal is used to get Shadow Lurker, Inferno, or Raiden. Sometimes Psycho Fiend, I guess. Especially if you're using Taurus Dragon, getting two Psycho Fiends right off the bat is really strong. So, this is an aggro deck, but it's not. It's not. It's complicated. So this deck is more like a ramp deck, if anything, right? It cheats out a bunch of strong cards really early. And so it gets a lot of tempo. And now, that's not good, obviously, but there are some ways to beat it. The first way is, as it is a ramp deck, and as the kings, actually, wait, I don't even know the card. Let me find out what Azrael looks like. Here. Okay, so I found it. I don't know how to show you guys, but maybe I'll just do this. So Azrael, he's got 25 attack. Um, he can chain like Raiden. Um, he can also explode all of his demons, and he has 40 health, right? So Azrael has 40 health. Taurus Dragon doesn't do very much to things right next to him. In most cases with Dark Deal, you can actually beat it with aggro. If you go first, especially, you just win in a lot of cases. You can kill it with Bog Dweller. That's usually one of the better ones. Um, Dream Drake will do it. Shenlong will do it pretty well. But yeah, basically just get on top of them, play some cards, and hit them. In Taurus Dragon's case, you're gonna need to play slower, but you are also going to win from the fact that he can't hit you when he's right next to you until he gets the Psycho Fiends out. And then with Azrael, he only has 40 health, so you can pretty easily burst him down. Yeah, so that's sort of how that works. There's also the ability with Dark Deal decks that you can sort of out-tempo them, or not out-tempo them, sorry, like outscale them. Because although they may cheat out cards early, they don't usually scale very well. As you can see, most demons are good cards, but like weak in terms of health, weak in terms of health, weak in terms of health, doesn't move very fast, and then Nightmare is complicated. Nightmare is probably a card that I least want to play against, to be honest. But whatever. Anyways, so yeah, and also like easy to avoid. So most demons have a pretty big downside, and yeah, you can sort of like outvalue them by just having more strong cards in your deck. And so decks that go really late include Aqua decks. If you have Aqua Hydra, you don't need to run Flood very much because you have it on the king. So you're already being able to spend like parts of your deck. You also only need to run 3 bottom feeders for mana. So yeah, you don't need to spend very much of your deck on cards that don't do much and just give you mana. You just have bottom feeder and Aqua Hydra, um, and then you can run stuff like Shock Leviathan, Deep Sea Devil's awesome, fast tempo. It's really good against demons. Siren, same idea. It's good to control things, although like I wouldn't use Siren necessarily against demons. Um, Also note that Dark Deal does. Never mind. I thought it had a second ability. But yeah, you can run Aqua. I'm missing some Aqua cards, but there's also like if you type in Ocean, you'll get a better idea. You can run Bog Dweller if you want. You can run Shenlong. You can run Zera. You can run Crabulus and Shark Warrior. We'll get to Crabulus in a bit. It's very good against aggro too. Um, yeah. So this, I mean, trade off their demons with your own cards like Aqua Hydra and like anything that costs 20 and is strong, really, or like somewhere around there. As soon as you can get cards like I'm not sorting by cost. Yeah, so as soon as you can get the cards in this sort of area, like Geomancer is quite strong against aggro and against tempo. Like it's worth a lot of damage for the mana you spend. Um, Admittedly, Spirit Warrior might be a better anti-aggro card than people might think. Kaze again, like you can tornado things. It's worth a lot of damage for the mana it costs. Plasma Apparition doesn't last very long. Um, or it doesn't need to rather. And against aggro, like often they'll just want to kill it because you're doing 15 damage. Wings is great for stopping approaches of like it's good in aggro, but it's also really good in control. Yeah, like summon stuff like Great Oak Spider, or maybe not Great Oak Spider. You should when you're fighting aggro, you want to have higher attack and less health. Well, no, this isn't true. When you're fighting aggro by out tempoing it, you want to have higher attack and less health. And 11 attack just doesn't cut it unless you're against like free cards, right? But Dark Deal's cheating out demons. Bog Dweller has a lot of health. Um, Deep Space Warrior has very little health, so you want to kill it quickly. Chimera, similar idea. And most things won't one-shot your Giant Scorpion anyways, so Giant Scorpion I think is just better than Great Oak Spider in a lot of situations here. Um, you might prefer Spider against like Dream Drake, Shenlong type stuff. Maybe specifically Shenlong, because it lives against more than 2 bursts. But anyways, the idea is run cheap cards like, but cheap but strong cards like Giant Scorpion, Deep Sea Devil's amazing. Um, Geomancer is very good. Plasma Apparition, Kaze, sure. You can run Sludge too. It's really good. Even Raiden, if you can like that's probably the top end of anti-aggro is like Psycho Fiend, Raiden stuff. But yeah, somewhere around here is where I'd draw the line. And then yeah, obviously your last option is always to just outvalue them, which I talked about. And so you want to use these cards to get to the point where you're playing these cards like Aqua Hydra and Bog Dweller and Shock Leviathan. You can also do it with Red Reaper and Shenlong. Like this Shenlong Big Burst is really really good at clearing crowds. It's the same idea as Geomancer, except Shenlong lives longer. But yeah, that's sort of my. Oh yes, the last thing is that while you're outvaluing them, being highly mobile is really good, especially against demon decks because demons are not highly mobile usually. So if your king is Dream Drake, you can run away pretty quickly, or even Zera. I mean, it's as long as your movement type is different from theirs, or I guess like has a way out of theirs, right? So if somebody's straight line and you're one move, you can usually like if they're here and you're here, then you can move back here, and now they're a knight's move away. Um, if you're a knight's move, you move out this way, whatever, right? But if you're highly, highly mobile, then you can be the one who's pinned in the corner, and if they're single move, then you can go womp, or if they're whatever, right? Even if they're straight line. If you match their movement type, they should be never able to hit you. But anyways, all that to say, this these cards you can use in the end. If you're mobile, you can kind of just like jump move, Dream Drake, Zera. As long as you move more than one space, then you should be pretty good at running away too. Okay, that's with that card. This is gonna be a long video maybe. Deep Space Warrior. Deep Space Warrior, again, it aggroes onto you, but it only does 15 damage. Like, that's not even that much. And it has a lot of health. So, or it doesn't have a lot of health. So you can actually fight back. One really good way to fight back is by having high health, which is why I talked about Dream Drake and Zera. You probably, like, you win a duel with Deep Space Warrior with Chimera. So, like, Deep Space Warrior is not that good at dueling. Shenlong is a very, very, very good way, because, like, it's such a good anti-aggro card. Because if they attack you, and they're on top of you, you can blow up, and then they die. Almost always. Volcano, I mean, you could run Volcano as king. It has high health, and it summons little lackeys, which is what you want to use to trade and kill them. So, actually, Volcano is probably the best anti-aggro king. It's just that it doesn't really scale well into a kill. But yeah, same rules are like this. This has basically been my anti-aggro chat against cards that want to come into you and attack you, which is all these cards. You want to have high health so you can survive it. If you can outduel their king, that's really important, which is why I don't recommend Deep Space Warrior for aggro, because they can't outduel you. What they can do is they can hit you, get low, walk away, heal up, go back in. But that's not what Deep Space Warrior aggro does, which is why I think Weave is better than aggro. But anyways, yeah, you can beat Deep Space Warrior by just dueling it, be that with Volcano or Aqua Hydra. Aqua Hydra is such a good anti-aggro card. Shenlong is a very good anti-aggro card. Actually, it's even better. This is the best one. Zera's pretty good. You can even outduel it with Chimera. Dream Drake. I think you'd even outduel it with Dream Drake, to be honest. You do 2 less health, but you just have so much more. Like, you basically have double the health. Although you need to spend a turn to go straight line. It's hard to say. Anyways, yeah, like, you can actually outduel that king with a lot of kings. This is kind of not king territory. It's kind of weird to me that this is like the list of all the possible kings. It's kind of small if you think about it. Like all the good ones is small. Oh yeah, Bog Dweller. Bog Dweller is also very good anti-aggro because you just outduel them. You're starting to notice a pattern. All the aggro kings are also good anti-aggro. Okay, let's save Bog Dweller till later. Chimera, it can't hit you on the first turn, but it does a lot of damage, so be wary of that. You can do the same sort of strats as you did with Deep Space Warrior, where you burst it down. It's not that hard to do 40 damage before he can hurt you. Although Chimera does have a lot more damage, so you are put on a clock here. I recommend Volcano as king to defend, or Shenlong as king to defend. Specifically, I recommend Shenlong. Dream Drake is also very good against Chimera, because Chimera does only move 4, so you can kind of just go back and forth and play musical chairs or whatever the monkey in the middle. So yeah, I recommend Dream Drake. What else do I recommend? I always recommend Zera, Aqua Hydra, and Bog Dweller. It's kind of just those kings, man. Like, as long as you have a lot of health, you'll win. You can play Barrier. I don't think Barrier is very good against aggro, though, because aggro has a lot of small monsters. What Barrier is good against is Bog Dweller, but again, we'll save that till last. Dream Drake. It can't even hit you if it's going first. If it's going second, you should move so it can't hit you. If it clicks straight line, then it clicked straight line, so you know its movement, and it took a turn to do that, so it probably won't click straight line. It'll probably just dual zigzag, and then you can always just avoid the dual zigzag. Um, to be honest, I'm not. I used to run Dream Drake in aggro. I wasn't super pleased with it. It's not bad by any means, but as long as you're staying out of the dual zigzag and you're trading with its small creatures, usually with stuff like Geomancer or Spirit Warrior, or like there's lots of small creatures too. Which so here let's look at attack for a second. Small creatures were recently nerfed to 9 attack. But you'll notice that like Icarus has only 14 health, and Lava Golem slowly whittles away at health. Lesser Vampire has 17. Lesser Vampire is probably the best aggro card now. So you'll notice that these cards can all sort of be killed. It'll take 1 or 2 turns, but if you use a card like Fabulous, you'll do 9 damage to it. Or better yet, Lava Golem yourself. It only needs to duel them. Or a really awesome option is Soul Stealer. If you do damage to things and then you use Soul Stealer to kill it, you're getting mana, so you're actually out-tempoing them because mana is worth like a lot of stats, right? I could do the like work it out how many stats 1 mana is generally equal to. But like think about it. You're gonna kill something, you'll get 20 mana, and then with that 20 mana, you can summon Vampire Lord, right? And now you're resurrecting all their cards, and you're creating an army that they can't stop. If you have board control and if you have a lot of small minions, aggro can't do anything to you really. So yeah, I recommend Soul Stealer and Parasitic Wasp. And Skeleton Warrior, like things that, like Castle Knight, it's also very awesome anti-aggro. I haven't talked about these yet, but these are like cornerstones of anti-aggro, man. Run, especially Castle Knight and Skeleton Warrior. They're just very, very good at keeping you alive. You can also run shoot cards. They're sometimes really strong. Specifically, you can run 20 attack shoot one. Where is he? Is he not here because he's a shoot? Yeah, he's not. Okay, well, there's a 20 attack shoot card. Anyways, that's Dream Drake. Bog Dweller and Shenlong. Okay, so Shenlong we'll talk about first. Shenlong will just hop on top of you and then threaten to hurt you. If you're going second, it can be really, really terrifying because he can kind of box you in. I think the best way to deal with Shenlong is run some, well, this is going to go for Shenlong and Bog Dweller. Run some Barrier. Barrier is not spelled like that. It's very, very good. It'll prevent, like, in this case, it's basically worth 20 health or however much attack Bog Dweller ends up having at the time. If you're on Ocean, that could end up being 21. But if he's already played a Wraithblade, that could be like 25 or 26 or 27, sorry. I went the wrong way. Anyways, yeah. Bog Dweller is like Bog Dweller makes your barrier very worth it. So does Shenlong. So with these cards, they still like cards only have like 60 health unless you're running Taurus Dragon or Aqua Hydra. Cards aren't that tanky, right? Like that's 320 hits. And I think we're already starting by attack. What's the cheapest card that does 20? 42. So that's 3 Aqua Hydras. 3 times 42. One of them's your king. So you only need to, actually you can hit twice with Aqua Hydra, right? So you only need to do 20 damage. Like you could actually pretty easily with Aqua Hydra as king burst down an incoming Bog Dweller or Shenlong. Well, maybe Shenlong. Like versus Shenlong, you can kill him in 2 turns if he comes on top of you, and then you swing, and then play a card, and then swing with that card, and it does the brown 10 damage. Well, actually, you can't anymore. I forgot. Oh no, yeah, if it does 9 damage, and then you play another 9 damage card, then you're at 18 plus another 20. Anyways, it's not the point. Oh no, yeah, I was incorrect. You no, yeah, because you're at 18 plus 9. Yeah, sorry. Anyways, the idea is it's close. So you can definitely like against these cards, kind of run away, drop a card, and hit them, and sort of take them down slowly, especially Shenlong, because it doesn't regen. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about Shenlong. You're going to run away and slowly whittle it down. Use small cards like Castle Knight, Skeleton Warrior. Skeleton Warrior especially because as he kills them, he actually just makes your next Skeleton Warrior stronger. Swamp Terror is fine. Um, Parasitic Wasp is okay. Soul Stealer is great. Lesser Vampire is awesome. Lava Golem's good. Crabulus is awesome because it survives a burst. Like, although, do know that Crabulus is literally like a drop, deal damage, walk away card. But anyways, these cards are definitely still strong cards that you should be running to sort of mitigate the damage that your opponent is doing. And then scale. If you can scale well against a Shenlong deck, you'll do very well. So that scaling involves 2 things. First, you have to have more mana than the opponent. So you have to figure out how to play mana cards or to kill his mana cards or both. So I recommend like side jump cards like Griffin to kill mana cards. Or straight line cards, but there's not too many. You can run Avatar. That's good. But yeah, so I recommend killing mana cards with free cards. Soul Stealer is a good one because you'll get mana for your efforts. Or obviously having a king that can do that. If you're running Chimera or Deep Space Warrior, you can actually run away, kill mana cards, leave, heal up after you've taken a little bit of damage. Very good. Also, Bog Dweller is great. Yeah, so that's sort of a good way to deal with Shenlong is like hit it, run away, hit it, run away. Bog Dweller is the hardest aggro deck. I would argue that it's not even an aggro deck. I would call it a brawler deck. What it does is it's got the king, or a duelist deck is what I would call it. Sorry, and that's the only card really, the king. And it runs a whole bunch of cards like Sludge and Barrier and the monarchs who heal Bog Dweller. Like the deck basically makes itself, and it's very very strong. And it kind of scales into late game because it has Wraithblade and it does a lot of damage at every point of the game, and it's kind of just scary, right? I think the best way to beat Bog Dweller is a couple things. You can run Wraithblade. I mean, not Wraithblade. Um, Barrier. Barrier is very strong. It will prevent all the damage from Bog Dweller for a turn. And if you get sludged, it's like an anti-sludge card, right? Not only does it stop sludge from making you very vulnerable, but it also stops you from taking any damage. So it's kind of like 2-in-1. Yeah, the fact that it like barrier is 2 attacks is very strong. You also want to run a lot of chump blockers, which again are cards like where's where's my okay here Lava Golem, and Lesser Vampire, and you kind of want the ones that are in the way, so like Crabulus too. Ones that are Cerberus, sure. Ones that have high enough health and good movement. So these cards all have decent health. They don't die in one hit from a Bog Dweller, except for Lesser Vampire after a Wraithblade. Well, same with Cerberus after Wraithblade. That's why I suggested Lava Golem and Crabulus. But yeah, running like chump blockers or whatever's good for like if you're in Aqua, then you want to run Shark Warrior, right? And maybe Crabulus. If you're in Wasteland or Undying, you want to run Skeleton Warrior. You always want to run Castle Knight. If you're in Bog, you can run Swamp Terror. But anyways, the idea is you want to pick a chump blocker that's good for your deck, or one that's just really good in general against Bog Dweller. Play the card in your deck, and first of all, you can start hitting the Bog Dweller, but these cards are cheap ways to get rid of the barrier, which Bog Dweller is going to have. Because eventually you have to kill the king, right? So getting rid of his barrier, and that's why I suggested Castle Knight and Skeleton Warrior, because they can swarm him. Castle Knight specifically is really good. But yeah, the idea is run like all these swarmy cards that can beat aggro, and you will definitely win games, because not only will you be trading efficiently into the aggro minions, because they'll be hitting your king and you'll be killing them, you will also be getting rid of the Bog Dweller's barrier. You will be getting rid of well, you'll be getting board control, so it's hard for them to approach you without taking a bunch of damage, and you'll just be turning the game in your favor. So, to reiterate, to summarize, the most important thing against aggro is 1. Having a lot of health. 2. Having board control. And that is why I, unironically, say that Volcano is one of the best anti-aggro kings. It has a lot of health, and nobody can attack it very hard because of the lava golems. Now, it's not optimal, and it's just not a good deck. But I do think that, like, seriously, it's the prime anti-aggro card. If you want to beat aggro, play cards with high health, like Aqua Hydra, and high attack helps because you can turn it around, and lots of chump blockers that do a lot of damage, so you can hit the opponent back and harder. Pretty simple, right? So yeah, I hope that was sort of a good idea of how to beat aggro. I don't. If I have a deck doctor here, let me plug myself real quick. Forums. I have a forum right here called Deck Doctor Requests. And if you are finding that your deck is dying to aggro, oh, I forgot to post my link there. But if you are finding that you are losing to aggro, throw your deck in here, or PM it to me if you don't want people to see it, if you're prepping for a tournament. And I will doctor it up for you and be like, okay, put these cards in. I like these. This goes for any tournament deck, by the way, or any deck. If you want it doctored, PM me, put it in here. I'd love to make a video out of it, but if you don't want anyone to see it, I get that. PM me. Okay? Overall, yeah, I just think that you should use this. This is a good service. And yeah, always message me if you have questions. Anyways, thanks for watching.